Mr. Stern.
Yes, you ready?
I think we can start. It is 12:03.
All right.
Let's give the rules of the game.
We are going to mute ourselves if we're not talking. If you are going to talk after you're done, please go back to mute. If you have any questions, please use the chat box. We will try to answer questions either during the presentation or after, depending on when we have a little break in the action. And I guess that are the rules, and we'll hand it over to Gary and take it away.
Perfect. Thank you, Michael. And good afternoon, everybody, for joining us again today. I am Gary Pyatt, proud chairman of the board for the Aventura Marketing Council Chamber of Commerce. And as all the chatter was before, I am so glad it's Friday and a beautiful Friday in the city of Aventura with our cool temperatures today. Let's put it this way. It is Friday, but it is also our third Zoom meeting this week. We've also covered this week our Speed.Biz on Monday and our Paycheck Protection Program for the second draw, which we had earlier this week on Tuesday with an outstanding number of people and a wealth of information. But yet today, here we are at noontime with our technology committee giving you some valuable information in regards to today's program directed around social media. So far, since the pandemic, we've had about a little over 100 meetings since March. To thank you for all participating, but thank you, as I always am proud to do. Thank you to our Zoom administrator, Mr. Michael Stern of Stern Bloom Media, photo studio, real estate person, chairman of the board for the Community Association for Police in Aventura. And I'm sure there are many more things, but at the end of the day, we couldn't be doing this without Michael. So Michael, once again, thank you for taking the time out of your, let's call it daily schedule almost, and assisting us in our programs. A while ago, we established at the Marketing Council the Technology Committee to help our members in a multitude of different things. But today, it's the changing times, its business environment has changed, social media has changed, how we keep in touch people, since we're all relatively on Zoom today, either at home or in an office. So what I'd like to do right now to move the program forward is introduce our Aventura Marketing Council Technology Committee Chairperson, Steve Gatoya, from CEO of IT Doctors. Steve, I will turn the rest of the meeting for now over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for all the participants. So for many years, we have held meetings to help our members understand the ins and outs, benefits and disadvantages, tips and tricks to keep them on top of the latest technology. Today, I'm proud to say we have a panel on how digital is your marketing, and they are here to answer your questions. So please feel free to put your questions into the chat room, and each one of them speaking so they can respond to you. Our three panelists are Karen Sue Dennis, I cannot wait to hear from her, president of KSD, Public and Media Relations. Karen is a publicist who is passionate about using social media and traditional media to promote professional and help them on their businesses. Stay out of the competition. Karen will start our program with choosing the best social media platform for your business. Next, we have Alex Harris. He's actually a senior member of IT Doctors. Alex is a senior full stack engineer with IT Doctors. A full stack engineer means that he can develop for both visual and technical aspects of websites. Alex has spent the last decade analyzing social media trends across all major platforms and has seen all the do's and don'ts of social media, which is his topic. Our third panelist is Oscar Rosenberg, business developer manager for Ingage.Biz, with over 15 years of experience in finance and small business solutions. Oscar specializes in digital marketing and social content strategy. And Karen, it's up to you now. You got the mic. Hello? Hello, did we lose everybody?
Karen?
Karen, you there?
Karen, you're on mute. You have to unmute yourself,
Karen
Karen.
just has to unmute herself.
Hold on.
There you go. You're good. You're
Hey,
good.
Karen.
Thank you, Steve. Hi, everybody. So a funny thing happened to me last night on the way home from reading to my grandchildren. I was on a virtual date and I walked into a palm tree, and not just any palm tree, but the ones with the sharp, spiky bark. So luckily I was not on FaceTime, because with the blood streaming down my face, that would have been a deal breaker. The bad news is I needed stitches, which hopefully I covered up well enough today so that you didn't immediately notice it when I got on Zoom. But the good news is that my son-in-law is a plastic surgeon, and he stitched me up on his dining room table. And it's all on video, because my daughter thought that it was super important for her to share this experience of me being operated on the dining room table with her siblings. And that's my segue to today's topic about social media and choosing the right platform for your business. Social media is all about sharing. It's a conversation. It's a way that we engage with family and with friends. And the same holds true for businesses. Social media is a way for us as business owners. I own my own public relations company. So this applies to me as well, to engage with our current and prospective clients and increase our brand awareness and keep them engaged. The engaged part is the really key part of this conversation today. And there's so many platforms for us to choose from. I know it can get very overwhelming, and each platform has a different value. Keep in mind that social media posting and engaging with those who comment, who like, who share is super time consuming. So you're going to want to be selective in choosing a platform that will maximize your ROI, your return on investment. So the key for you as business owners is number one, you want to identify your target audience. That is really the hardest thing. You want to dig deep and you want to say, who are my current clients? Who are the ones I want to attract to in the future? How old are they? And where are they hanging out? So if you're looking to target housewives in their 30s who like to cook, trust me, they're definitely not on Twitter, but you will definitely find them on Pinterest and Instagram. So for example, I represent a fertility doctor. Those same people who are hanging out looking for recipes are also the ones who are looking for answers to their infertility issues. So we post a lot on Instagram and Pinterest. Okay, number two, after you've figured out your demographics, you want to have a plan. Social media can be spontaneous. You know, something happens like today, we're having this event and I'm going to post about it. But in general, you want to have a plan. You want to have a monthly calendar. You kind of want to map out what you want to showcase during the course of the month and which social media platforms you're going to use to do that. So let's start with the platforms. So first of all, I am a huge fan of LinkedIn, huge. And as a business owner, you should have not only a personal page on LinkedIn, but you also should have a business page. It's great for search engine optimizations, you know, those Google spiders that are always searching to rank you. And it's an amazing opportunity for you to showcase your skills, your expertise, what you do really well on your homepage by writing articles, which are blogs, by posting stuff that's going on in your industry, and just putting yourself out there. Now, while a video of me getting stitches is medical, and I do promote doctors for a living, I personally would not post it on my LinkedIn page. So first of all, my son-in-law is not my client. And second of all, it's not good for his brand. He's a breast surgeon. But I will be posting this talk today on social media as part of promoting my brand on LinkedIn. And I'm really counting on all of you, if you're not doing it right now, to do it right after this talk today, to link in with us, to go on to LinkedIn and link in with each of the people that you have found on this program. And to not only link in with me, but to like what I wrote today, to give a comment, because there's an algorithm on LinkedIn. The LinkedIn algorithm is an organic one, and basically they monitor to see how many people like, share, and post within 30 minutes of you posting. So for me, it would be super important that you link in with me, like and share my post. And I'll also post it on my KSD page, but I'll use some different wording. Google does not like duplicate wording. So you're going to want to post two different ways, one on your business page, one on your personal page. Try to vary the wording a little bit, even though, and don't forget to put a picture, but you could use the same picture. Google does not read pictures, it only reads words. Number two, so we went through LinkedIn, we're going to talk about Instagram. Let's start with demographics. Does your business cater to 10 to 49-year-olds? Remember, we said we have to define our demographics. I'm going to read you a great statistic. 75% of 18 to 24-year-olds use Instagram. 57% of 25 to 30-year-olds use Instagram. 47% of 30 to 49-year-olds use Instagram. And it kind of goes downhill after that. So if your demographic belongs in that particular age range, look at Instagram as a good, viable way to showcase your business. But here's the second question. Can your business be showcased visually? Instagram's all about visuals. It's all about hashtags. It's owned by Facebook. So you do have the ability to cross-post between Instagram and Facebook. Don't do it. What works on Instagram does not usually work on Facebook. And Facebook is not about hashtags. If you're selling products, usually a slam dunk on Instagram. If you're doing a cooking demonstration, slam dunk. Botox reels do unbelievably. So if you're a dermatologist and you're doing medical procedures like Botox and fillers, does great on Instagram. If there's a way to showcase your business visually and your audience skews to the younger side, then Instagram is for you. Okay, Twitter. Twitter is super time consuming and it skews towards politics, breaking news, trending topics. I personally use Twitter, but only to follow reporters because I need to know what they're writing about so that if they're writing about long haulers and I have a client who's a rheumatologist who focuses on long haulers, I want to know who the reporters are who are writing about the topics that my clients want to share. I also use it to tag anybody who writes about my clients, but I really don't recommend it for small businesses. Very time consuming. You really need to put a lot of time into it, and I'm not sure that you're going to get the return on your investment. Facebook is my favorite. And you know why? Because I'm old. Older people gravitate to Facebook. So if your demographic or the people that you're trying to attract to your business are older than 40, Facebook could be a great platform for you. But keep in mind that younger people are now using Facebook for Facebook stories, which are very similar to Instagram. So if you have a picture with music or animation, you're going to want to use Facebook stories to promote your business. People like it. It's very fast, it's very quick, it's very engaging, and it does attract the younger people. I personally use Facebook for my clients, which, like I mentioned before, are mostly healthcare professionals, as a way of maximizing search engine optimization and dragging people to their website. So for example, Paris Hilton announced the other day that she's going through IVF. I have an infertility specialist, so I posted that on Facebook, but I put a link to the infertility specialist website saying, hey, and if you need IVF, we have huge IVF success rates, come and check it out. But I wouldn't put that same article on Instagram because Instagram is not about articles. So finally, about YouTube. YouTube is owned by Google. So need I say more? Google supports YouTube videos, which means if you're looking for search engine optimization, those little Google spiders will love it. And so will your current and personal clients. I know I'm out of time, but check my LinkedIn profile this week for a blog that I'm posting about the merits of YouTube and message me so that we can stay engaged. The
Very
end.
nice. Thank you, Karen. Elaine asked a question, but I'm going to expand on her question because I probably is something that most people have heard about. WhatsApp, I believe, made an announcement that they're going to start tracking your movements. And I believe Facebook owns WhatsApp, if I'm not mistaken. Do you know where we're at on that? Because I know Elaine is a little reluctant to use WhatsApp because of that, but I also heard that they may not be going forward on that policy. Do you have an update on that?
So that's not really my expertise, but maybe someone else on the panel could address it. I know there is the opportunity on Facebook to use WhatsApp as a way of messaging your clients, but I happily do not personally use it from my particular clients because of all the HIPAA kind of regulations that my clients are under. But is there anybody else on the committee that could respond to that?
Does anybody else know the answer, or even who's not on the panel happen to be aware of that? No. Okay.
What was the
No.
question?
Stop me, Elaine. You stop me.
What was the
Elaine,
question?
Elaine,
What-
why don't you unmute Elaine and you want to ask specifically your question about WhatsApp?
Yeah, I've been getting an awful lot of texts saying Facebook, now that they own WhatsApp, is tracking everybody in your database if you're using WhatsApp, because now it's Facebook and that's what Facebook tends to do. So everyone's saying, well, let's move on over to Signal. So, you know, I immediately deleted WhatsApp, even though it served us well for a while, but now that Facebook has it, I'm a little concerned. That's all. That's all.
Well, can I answer that? I think
Yeah, Dimitri?
on you know, when it comes to Facebook, every single person on their app and on their website, they have settings through Facebook actually tracking. Like, you know, when everyone goes to a website, you're looking, let's say, for a mattress, and then you come back to your Facebook, and all of a sudden you see a whole bunch of mattresses coming up to your website, like they're listening to you. So you can actually turn that feature off by going to Facebook and turn that notification off. Me and Michelle. Sorry, I'm babysitting. I'm left alone at home. So that's what it is. When it comes to WhatsApp, what I heard, eventually WhatsApp is going to come up with the same type of feature environment where you can actually cancel them from, you know, watching every single step that you're doing. But at this moment, so far, I heard that's not the case. So WhatsApp.
Right. And also with social media now, I think you're absolutely right. These are like cookies, right? So if you turn those off, they ask you, if you notice now what's going on, you will have like a little pop-up and it says, do you want to participate in, you know, being part of being served ads? And now you can actually click that off. Is that what you're talking about, or?
Yes, right. So under settings of Facebook, there's called ads and notification. You can just turn that off, and they're not gonna track exactly what you do every step.
Right.
All right.
All right.
Excellent.
Dimitri,
But primarily, a lot of people use the WhatsApp, actually, I think, to call more international business as opposed to ads or.
we were using it for videos because it did beautiful videos. We were able to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But all right. Thank you.
All right. All right. Back to the program.
So
Looks
I
like
believe
Gary
Alex
is not here, so
Alex is next.
Alex. All right.
Alex, you're up.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep, awesome. Hi guys, I'm Alex. I'm sure you heard that introduction from Steve, so thank you for that. I also want to thank Karen for her great insight into a lot of things that go on in social media. So I'm gonna kind of show you from not only your business perspective, but also your personal perspective on the do's and don'ts of social media, right? A common question that I usually get whenever things like this come across my desk is, how do I manage my social media and get the best impact, the most impact I can possibly achieve, right? I want to preface that with, things in social media do take time to build, right? It's almost like credit. So in this case, it's more of a social credit with not only your peers, but a lot of your customers too. And that's going to lead me into my first point. Don't be like, let's say, fake on social media. Promote you. Don't promote something that you aren't, because people can see through that very quickly, right? I'm sure that you've seen a ton of people on your social media where you kind of question and go, I don't know if that's exactly how you should be in terms of, you know, what you're promoting yourself as. I don't know if that's 100% authentic to you or to your business. So just do keep that in mind and engage with your audience organically, right? So keep those engagements, keep those friendships, relationships as such. Keep them, you know, in good conversation, in high spirit, you know, be happy with the people that are doing business with you. Be happy with your friends like you would in any other social gathering, any other social, you know, space, right? The next thing I want to kind of touch on is how much you should be posting on your profile, right? So there is actually a correct amount that you should be posting. It would be very, very distracting, I'd say, to kind of have a ton of posts from one entity. Like, let's say you yourself are just posting a ton of photos, you know, of children with like kids around you, you know, that as part of your family, or things in your business that you just want to share with your customer base, you know, so that they know what's going on. I would advise against doing too much of that, because it can get to what's called the spamming territory, where people will see a lot of it and kind of get put off by it. So just do keep in mind how much you are, let's say, posting on social media, right? You always kind of want to limit it to around 3 posts, either a day or a couple times a week, and try to space it out. Try to give it so that you're consistently engaging throughout the week, that it compounds throughout the month, compounds throughout the year. So another thing that kind of goes into that is, I know that everyone's kind of worried about COVID. A lot of people are worried about like the future, politics, all of that stuff. I would also advise against doing too much of that. I know that it is a very touchy subject, and a lot of like bad things can happen. Social media isn't always the greatest place for that, because you don't really get the sympathy that you may be looking for, as well as you won't find people that are too engaged with things like that, right? So you definitely want to kind of limit the amount of, I guess, sad things that you're posting online, and pretty much take measures to be part of the other side of that, right? You want to promote happiness. You want to promote people enjoying themselves, right? Try to take away from the things that are happening in the world and, be the opposite, right? In that point, always vet the things that you read, right? Because a lot of the times that I do business with people that are looking to expand upon their social media is they'll read into something and say, oh, well, I heard this and this, or someone said that, someone's telling me that the world's going to end tomorrow. Make sure that you figure out where this information is coming from, and also how truthful it is. Make sure you vet those sources. Make sure you see where these people are getting that information from. Even ask them, because a lot of the times people are just posting to post. They are posting their opinions and labeling it as fact. So you definitely want to vet those opinions. You want to vet that information prior to anything, right? On the topic of, building upon that social credit, building upon your business credit, right, online. Make sure that your business profiles, your personal profiles are complete as well. Oftentimes I do also see that a lot of people don't finish setting up their profile. Let's say on LinkedIn, you don't add a picture, or you don't put a bio or a date of establishment, stuff like that. The more of that you have, the easier it is to kind of accept you as an entity on any type of social platform, right? The more you have fleshed out, the more people can relate to the things that you're doing. The more people can see you doing your business, the more people can kind of bring themselves into your business, right? That's the type of engagement that you really do want, because it does drive organic growth, which is by far one of the better ways to build upon social media and use it to your advantage. Also understand that social media is a reflection of you. So in any capacity that you use it, make sure that you
Alex, can you hear me? Looks like Alex might have froze. All right. Alex, if you come back, we'll continue, but I think we should probably go over to Oscar until we could fix Alex's connection. Oscar, you want to pop in until we could get Alex back?
Sure thing.
All right.
Technical difficulties. So my name is Oscar Rosenberg. I am the business development manager at Ingage.Biz. I do have a little presentation if I can put up. I'm going to post it up right now. Oh, I think Alex is back.
Oh, sorry about that. Where did I leave off here? Okay. So yeah, going into posting and commenting, right? This is a really big factor in social media. Make sure you breathe before commenting. Make sure you take everything in stride with a big grain of salt. A lot of times people will post what they want to because the internet is anonymous, right? There's no risk for somebody posting anything that they would want to, even if it comes at, the detriment of your well-being. They don't care what they post. They will do whatever. It's people. Breathe before commenting. A lot of times people can be very nasty online, especially when they leave reviews. And those are also key points in trying not to have that knee-jerk reaction and kind of get back at them like, oh, well, that's not true, or oh, this, or oh, that. Remember, social media is always going to be a reflection of you. It's going to be the only thing online that works as a representation of not only your business, but things or people that you do business with, right? You don't want to put a bad taste in somebody's mouth before they even get to meet you in person, right? Now to continue on that, we're going to do kind of like an example of being unique in terms of your social media. Instead of seeing other people post, memes, or you see other people post like jokes, stuff like that, and it works for them, great. They post videos, they drive content themselves. They do really cool drone videos. Instead of trying to be like them, try to figure out ways that you can use your own strengths online and market that instead. Oftentimes, I also see a lot of people trying to do too much where it actually plays to their detriment, right? So yeah, you may have some cool ideas that someone else may do, and you might want to put your own little spin on it. Oftentimes, it's much better to come up with something more unique to yourself. Thus, people can look at your stuff and be like, oh, wow, that's cool. I've never seen that before. I'm way more entertained by this because I've never seen it, right? You always want to try to have that uniqueness to whatever brand you're promoting, whatever personal brand that you are trying to get across to people online, as well as something that, again, remains authentic to you. I cannot stress that enough. Also, make sure you keep, everything in terms of your business very professional. You don't want to have like too many crazy pictures. Make sure that you keep the mixers at work strictly between your employees, right? You don't want to get too crazy online, and you want to make sure that drinks aren't being shown in pictures, wild behavior or anything like that. Mostly for a business setting or professional page. Sometimes I do see people that are in real estate, or they do a lot of business on Wall Street. They have parties, and in these photos that they're putting online, they have a lot of drinks being featured. They have a lot of, people doing wild things, and it kind of hurts your rapport online, right? People look at it and be like, oh, well, you're a party animal. Like, that's what I see. There's nothing else that would show me that based on your social credit, right? That would prove otherwise. So to kind of end things on that note, always kind of keep not only your business profile in check, make sure that it's healthy, make sure that it's complete, make sure that the things you post are always in good taste, make sure that things that you post are authentic, make sure you're always keeping in mind that every action that you put into social media comes back into your credit, right? And with that, I'll hand it off. I'm not sure who's really coming up here, but yeah, employers, they check your social media. So make sure that you keep your stuff very professional. A lot of times you can lose out on job opportunities based on things that happen in your life that you wouldn't have even realized you posted about, and they don't consider you for that position anymore. They want a higher standard of employee, let's say. So always keep that stuff in mind whenever you're posting on social media.
Very good. Good job, Alex.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're going to move right into Oscar.
Oscar, yeah.
Yes, hi, everybody. Great points, Alex, on that. Touched some very important topics on that, and Karen as well too. I have a little presentation to go along with our little chat. Let me put it up. Can you guys see it?
Yes, you're good.
Perfect. All righty. Your social media money and bringing in sales. So first question, how much money is everybody here spending on their marketing? Don't be shy. Is it A, B, or C? If you want to leave some comments, you can do that. Look at the chat. Okay. Anybody spending 2,500 to 5,000 or 5,000 or more? Okay.
Is
Yeah.
anybody listening? Maybe that's see if we could get anybody's attention, because it's like no up Elaine.
We have Elaine, we
Elaine
have
looks like
Karen.
yeah. I think it will help the presenter if you could just type in anything, even if it's
Yeah. Even if it's
nothing.
$0. Yeah. to get a good idea. All righty. So from there on, the most important thing with the money that you're spending is you want to make sure you have some sort of return. And for the longest time, it's been said that it's difficult to measure the return. Now, that can be for many reasons. It could be because you're being given the wrong information, or the most important thing is we're not reading the data. We're not going in on a monthly basis. And if you do have a digital marketing or marketing strategy in place, reviewing the numbers that are coming in. If you do have a marketing strategy, are you being provided a report? Are you being provided any kind of information? Without that information, you will never know if the money you're putting in is actually doing a return. It is said that a good marketing budget can be anywhere between 5 to 10% of your revenue on an annual basis. A lot of the times we just don't know what's coming in because you're not reading the information. This is a quick, I would say, kind of an overview report of what a client is spending and what the information is coming out as far as any kind of Google ads, SEO ads, Facebook ads that we're targeting towards their specific demographic. This is a great way to measure the money you're putting into your strategy if it's actually returning on something, because we have ways of tracking the information and tracking the posts that you're doing and seeing if it's converting. The most important thing is you need to make sure that when you have a strategy in place, that it is the right one for your business, not just having something overall. I want to be on every platform. I want to be on every social media channel posting many times a day. Just like Karen and Alex said, you have to make sure that you know your audience and you're posting for them, which comes now having the right decisions driven by the information that you're being provided. So if you're spending $1,000 a month targeting a certain demographic that you have no business targeting because a company told you to, you need to change that. And you find that information by the data that an agency like ourselves or your marketing company or yourselves are being provided for. And this way you can change that, because just because that strategy is placed right away, it does not mean it can't be changed. It's a living thing. It's a living and breathing thing, your marketing strategy. And as it goes, as it evolves, so does your business. So having the correct data will make your decisions change, and it'll help you improve your ROI on what you're spending. The important thing is you're giving all this data, but what does it mean, right? So who can sit here and, if you're provided a report, understand 100% what it means? It's pretty tough to find out exactly what it means. Those who do have a marketing plan in place, if you want to put a yes or a no in the comments, who gets a monthly report of your analytics, of what's going on, conversations? You guys get a report for that? You want to put a yes or a no in the chat? Let's see here. Okay, Gabriella says yes. What kind of information is in there, Gabriella? If you want to just put a quick. For those that responded yes, does somebody sit there and review the report with you and adjust a strategy? And for those that put no, I guess my biggest question is, why isn't someone explaining the report to you? Okay. That's always good when the reports are being explained. For those that put no, I'm kind of worried if no one's sitting there and explaining the report to you or kind of going over, what's been talked about. But that's the most important thing, is we need to understand these numbers to make sure that the money you're putting into your business and your strategies are coming back. And the most important thing is that they grow as well. So we'll move on here. Have you guys made changes based on any kind of strategies from your reports? Want to put yes or no? That's good that Donna put that it's not kind of a set it and forget type of strategy, because these strategies, again, like I mentioned, are always changing. Social media is changing every day, every hour. There's always something coming up, just like mentioned about the WhatsApp and the Facebook. These things are always updating, for the better or for the worse of us. All right, Lisa, that's great. Yeah, videos and content with people, especially when you're putting additional investment in there, do get the biggest return, because your audience is connecting with them. Your audience is seeing somebody, that is, that you're targeting specifically, and the idea is for them to convert and log into your page, or at the end of the day, make a sale. What other posts or things do you see working for you if you're putting money behind them? A geofencing campaign as well too. All right, CPM, let me double check, because let's look it up here. Now, as far as the reports and the numbers you get, let me ask you, have you guys found it difficult to understand, difficult to read? What has been any kind of challenges you faced when you're getting these reports? I'd love to hear that.
I think, Oscar, it might be easier because we do have a small group to open the conversation. I think it might be easier because there's a lot of, you hear dead space, and I
Yeah.
think the conversation will flow better. So if I could suggest that, I don't know if you want to finish your
Yeah.
presentation or just
Yeah, let me
continue
stop
doing
the
that.
share. That'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
So I'd like to open the room up for questions and concerns.
Typically, sorry, we do web development, Oscar. We spoke
Yeah.
all before. We only do web development. We only do design. We're not a marketing firm, and we're always looking for good marketing companies out there. Just because our customers, after they do the development of apps or etc., they need to be able to market it. And it's never the right answer. And I know it's the same thing with web development. It's never the right answer when it comes down to, so what is the least amount of money do you spend to get some sort of ROI back to what you're spending? If someone's going to say, hey, I want to spend $500 a month, what does that mean? Are they going to get some return, or are they going to be completely dead in the water for the next 6 months? Is that a good question? I'm not sure, but
no, that is a good question, because you're investing X amount of dollars in there. It depends, first of all, what kind of business it is. And the important thing is listening to the business and saying, let's say if it's an e-commerce business, you want to get as many eyes to the website as possible. And if they're just starting up, putting that money behind, SEO ads is probably your best bet. That can start from $100 to $500 if they're doing it on their own. Usually $500 is a good starting point, because that helps them, either if start some sort of social media campaign and put certain monies behind their product and, on Google or your even social media to get eyes to the website.
Also, doesn't it make sense also too? It depends on the tighter the area, the less money you have. It's like either, okay, excuse me for saying this, it's like peeing in an ocean or peeing in a puddle. In other words, the bigger the area is the less impactful with the $500. So the most important thing is if you're going to be in a certain area within 3 to 5 mile radius, it's, that's kind of like how I would gauge.
So Donna, how much will it cost to pee in a puddle?
I don't I'm trying to say when you talk about dollars, it all depends.
Yeah.
If you
100%, yeah.
It gets expensive when you start to, really, really fine tune, like you said, peeing in the puddle. As you really target in there to that specific, if you want, 30 to 50, high net worth, homeowner, if you start getting really nitty gritty, depending on the industry, it can get very expensive unless you just go to a zip code, up in New York or California. So your $500 might get more eyes on a broader form, but, like you just said, in the puddle, you're going to get more, it's more direct. You're targeting that client. Now those clicks will get a little more expensive, and depending on the industry, from lawyers, medical, that real estate, those demographics tend to get higher in price.
So the price is a cost per click if it's certain things, and then you have CPM, which is more, cost per thousand, depending on where exactly what strategy you're looking to use.
Yeah, exactly. And also depending on the area and the zip codes too, like you said, getting more laser focused on there.
So for example, LinkedIn would be more expensive because that's a higher.
LinkedIn in general is more expensive because of the user on there, and it's very targeted. I mean, you got filters on there, and as opposed to Facebook or Instagram or even Google.
Or just using just regular display ads from Google.
Yeah, because LinkedIn is very they want you to target specifically,
right?
And those do get more expensive. We've seen those for our clients get pretty pricey.
And can I ask one question regarding Instagram and Facebook and etc.? I mean, as you could see that every time someone posts something on Instagram, it's the same exact post on Facebook or vice versa. Is that a bad thing or is that a good thing? Isn't it supposed to be a little bit unique content on different social medias all the time?
It should be. It should be, especially if you're putting money behind those posts.
Well, a lot of times if you're doing it by yourself, people are not really understanding what strategy they're using. You have people that are just doing stuff because that's easy for them.
Yeah.
But if you're using a real marketing strategy, like the person, like Karen said before, if it's Instagram and you're looking to reach 18 to 49 or 18 to 34, Facebook is older. Facebook is more 45 plus. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. It depends on what demographic you're utilizing and where you want to put the dollars. So you're going to be wasting dollars on Facebook if you're looking to reach 18 to 34.
Yeah. And also, you're not going to put paragraphs and links on Instagram because, first of all, on the Instagram post, you can't click on the link on the picture. You have to go to the person's bio. Whereas if you're on Facebook, you can put the links on the post and that will go straight to the person's website.
Right. I think Karen mentioned that too.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Yes, B2B with equipment like copiers and printers, high ticket sales. Mm-hmm. So far, we've had very little success. LinkedIn, much more to try and develop relationships that will call us eventually when they do need us. Is there a specific method that works for a little bit higher ticket items, $10,000, $15,000, CIO type buyers?
Well, we've seen first of all, it's a good idea to kind of like get in, a good analytics, a good analysis of your strategy. So what you're doing, as far as if you're on social media, and on LinkedIn as well too, to see where your traffic is coming from to the website in order to turn into sales and conversion. LinkedIn is great for the decision makers, one-on-one, networking and making contacts with the decision makers. In the industry for a higher price ticket, maybe an Instagram isn't needed, but at the end of the day, maybe a Facebook is, because that's going to allow you to, to share a little more of the story, and the decision makers, fall into that age range that you're trying to target.
And so as far as the LinkedIn is concerned, getting those one-on-one meetings, what is the general strategy that you guys implement to really get them to respond?
I mean, I can open this up to Karen or Alex, but I know we do a good sniper marketing, targeting the specific industries you want to target. So if you say you want, legal office managers, we have, good sniper marketing strategies to go in there and go after the area and make that connect, inviting them to connect, following them, highlighting, posting on your LinkedIn feed to get that organic growth and people interacting with you, engagement. Even right now, LinkedIn Live is, even though it's in beta, but it's something that, we've suggested, our clients applying for it so they can take that next step.
And to Barry's question, what he just asked, from all of your experiences, I guess, Oscar, Karen, and Alex, from all your experiences, if client says, okay, I'm ready to move forward to the marketing, doesn't matter what they spend, $500, $1,000, or $3,000 a month. From your experience, what is the ROI from that point, and how long does it take to make that $3,000 a month back? If you understand what I mean. So if I spend $3,000, typically I want my $3,000 back plus percentage. What is usually a good month frame that you guys start seeing some sort of return?
I mean, I'll answer first. Usually it's a good at least 3 months, more or less, to get things rolling, to get your model going. But it also depends what kind of business you are. If you're a lawyer and we get you one client, that client could end up being a multi-million-dollar client, or it could not.
Correct.
In the first month, that person coming in through your campaign, will pay for it. Karen, Alex, you want to chime in?
Yeah, so I typically advise people that are just fresh coming into any type of marketing oriented fashion that they at least need to wait that 3 to 6 month period, because that's realistically how much time it takes to get things really rolling. When you build these models on back ends for any type of marketing platform, that whatever you set up is taking time to really get people's interaction with your website, as well as things that they're searching for, and whatever you're targeting has to coincide with that. Otherwise, it's the amount of stuff that you get from it isn't going to necessarily reflect how much money you get in a short period of time. It's going to show itself more within that 3 to 6 month period. And that's typically what I'll tell a lot of clients, where they kind of get a little surprised by it because they assume like, oh, well, nothing's going to happen in that 3 month period. That's not necessarily the case either. So it's kind of a tough thing to kind of explain to people, because it's about understanding how people think and how you can use marketing to that advantage online, especially with SEO optimization, stuff like that, with anything. So
I happen to agree with you totally. I mean, I do healthcare professionals, doctors. There's no magic formula that says you're going to put $3,000 in and you will get the return within 60 days, 90 days, a year. I love what you said about banking the credit, because I had a gynecologist call me the other day, and he said, I noticed you're working on a gynecologist-oncologist Instagram page, and he only has 299 followers. Well, those are real. You could buy followers.
Yep.
But for a medical practice, it's not like selling a cooking course or, some adorable infant outfits. It's really, gynecology oncology is not the sexiest topic to sell. And to build an audience of 299 engaged followers is a great milestone for a 60-day period in a practice. So, but it might not be the same if you're selling a different type of object or service. So it's so unique, and you get lucky sometimes, and you'll tag somebody who's an Instagram strategist or a high influencer, and you get super lucky. But I always say it takes between 3 to 6 months to establish brand awareness online, which will give you the longevity that you're looking for in any business.
And I also think too that, with anything else, frequency is what counts. They have to see it numerous times before they actually engage. And so you're right, at 3 to 6 months. And also too, when you're going through the analytics is kind of like when you will find out after the 3 months how well the program did. So say, for example, you had a hotel and you've already established, I wanted families, they have to spend a minimum of $2,000. So at the end of it, even if you say, for example, you spend, I don't know, $2,000, but you only had like 12 people walked in. Well, those 12 people, if they spent $2,000 each, you have already made your money. Plus the 12 might look like, wow, only 12. But if they spent 2,000, you've already done well.
Right. And let me ask you, between the three of you, if SEO, and we, back in the days, we used to offer SEO. I'm talking about back in the days like 2004, 2005, when it used to be very, very easy. For $25, you buy 100,000 links and you're golden. It's not the same anymore as SEO, and that's why we stopped offering it many years ago. But between the three of you, are all you concentrating more on, SEM, just basically marketing, it's like social media more, or SEO as well? Or is that like a little bit less popular now?
So they kind of go.
Sorry. Go ahead, Alex.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. They pretty much go hand in hand. If you are doing one, it's really in your better interest to do both. There's no reason not to, unless budget is incredibly tight. And I mean, like you really can't even spend like the 500. You can't spend the 400 even. Your budget would have to be very, very tight for that not to be a good decision. You're always going to want that level of like double dipping almost. It just makes more sense because Google in a way is its own social platform. Google can figure out things about what you're searching, where common interest lies. And that's what you get in terms of, at least on a marketing aspect, that's what you're kind of going for when you're helping these companies try to find their way online, especially, and social media is of course the end all be all. Anything can happen on social media. As Karen said, which was a great point, one influencer can take your 299 follower count to 20,000, 200,000, So you really never know. It's usually in your better interest, but take it away, Oscar. Go ahead.
No, yeah, exactly. I was gonna, to add on to that, it also depends on the business, on the client, and what their space is, and what they're looking for. The most important thing that we do is listen to the business owner, and from there make suggestions and go into further detail and give the timeline 3 to 6 months minimum to see something.
Yeah.
Question: does anybody do a programmatic advertising, programmatic digital buys? Any one of you guys do that? Which is, not only SEM or SEO, it's primarily purchasing off of the websites.
Oh, you mean like a acquisition? Like what do you essentially mean by that?
Like, for example, if you did a campaign and your ads show up, say, for example, you're a jewelry company, and if you're looking to purchase a certain amount of 1,000 people and you decide to do a native campaign, your ad might show up in the body of text of a paragraph on a certain website that's talking about jewelry.
Oh, so it's more click-through is what you're talking about?
I didn't hear you.
So you're talking more about like click-through links? Is that what you mean? Like things that directly reference your site from an external source, let's say? So like another website or another service?
Well, like programmatic is kind of like, you do your advertising, and you could either have display ads, but it goes out to thousands, like 90-something% of all the websites are out there, depending on the demographics.
Gotcha.
It's advertising websites.
I don't really have too much experience doing stuff like that. maybe Oscar might have something to touch on here.
That, I think maybe on some of our e-commerce clients, we've done something like that. But our ads,
There's companies like there's one Himechu company in Texas that actually concentrates on something like that. Let's say they're gonna say, let's say there's gonna be an expo. Aventura Marketing Council wants to go and create an expo, right? And all of a sudden, that particular little banner comes up on a whole bunch of like CNN, Fox News, Yahoo, AOL. All of a sudden, you just see that, and what they do a geo-targeting campaign, and it comes up in a whole bunch of different. And I'm not talking about social sites. I'm talking about an actual like major websites, CNN Money.
Correct.
There's special companies that actually concentrate on that particular banner ads.
That's called programmatic.
Right. It's banner ads that they specialize in, and they can control where it's going to show up and at what time.
I'd
Yeah.
like to just chime in for 1 second though, and kind of bring it back to the question about the integration of all the platforms. So, when you do something like I'm a publicist, my whole thing is to get people on TV. If you see medical experts on Channel 10 News, I promise you, unless they're in handcuffs, they have a publicist. But to have that medical expert on Channel 10 without promoting it, target it strategically through social media, you're really not maximizing the benefits. So they might have that 1 minute of fame on TV, but it's not living digitally anywhere. You're not promoting it to people who could possibly be interested in it. You're not integrating it into their blogs. And personally, if I get a client who says, I only want to be on TV, I want to be on CNN, I want to be on Six in the Mix, if they're not allowing me to use my expertise to take that TV segment and make it into a broader strategy, it's not worth it. They're going to be disappointed in the end. And it doesn't reflect well on my company. It's really the integrated approach and how you take those one little things and you broaden it so that it has that lifelong life on all types of media that really creates digital success.
All great points. Michael, Mr. Stern, is there anything else I've kind of gone through the chat room. Is there anything else that you've seen in the chat room that we should have our panel address before we close up?
Yeah, just very briefly, if somebody could answer Elaine about Sniper or Snapper. I'm not sure, Elaine, which one you meant. I never heard of either of them. So
sniper marketing is kind of, it's kind of something we do a lot at the agency, depending on, the business owner, is going on LinkedIn under that person's profile. And depending on what their goal is, if we have a CPA that's looking to meet other CPAs in South Florida, it's time consuming. We go in there messaging, we follow, we like, we interact, we post, and we do outreach to make those connections and then get that contact information back to our client.
great explanation. I think that's it, Gary. We're 101.
There you go, Michael. Now you learned what that was. Perfect. All right. Well, it is 101. We are just about an hour into the programming. And what I'd like to do is please extend a sincere appreciation to Michael Stern again for hosting us and directing the program, our technology committee chairperson, Steve Gotoya. I hope I got that right. And our three panelists, Karen Dennis, Alex Harris, and Oscar Rosenberg. Thank you guys so much for your time. When I worked for First Service for many years, we used to have these annual sessions with our either external PR company and our internal company to talk about social media, marketing. And I think my biggest takeaway was whatever we talk about today is going to change tomorrow. So you have to stay on top of it. You have to reinvent yourself. You have to use all the different platforms. Don't find yourself tunnel visioned into one, which is similar to all of the themes that we spoke about today. So I appreciate, on behalf of the Marketing Council Chamber of Commerce, everybody's time today. Again, thank you to our panelists. Thank you to Michael. Thank you to Elaine. Our third program of today, Elaine, it is 1:02, and there are no more Zoom programs for this week. So thank you to everybody, and we will see you. I will take that moment to remind you, Monday at 8:30 a.m. is our Speed Biz. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Great meeting.
Everyone.
Great-
Thank you, guys. Thank you to everybody. Have a great, safe
Great.
weekend.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll send you all the recording. Thanks to Michael.